Welcome in, guys. We are here for another episode of Wildcat Weekly, and what a week it's been for Big Blue Nation.
Thank you for tuning. Thank you for tuning in to College SportsCast. College SportsCast presents Wildcat Weekly.
What's up, y'all? It is Brad and John here with College Sportscast to do our Wildcat Weekly show. It is Monday night, and it seems like we just did a live last Monday night from the game real quick. It seems like that was 2 or 3 days ago, to be honest with you, John.
Yeah, it was.
Like, this has been one wild week in Big Blue Nation.
It's been pretty wild.
It has been crazy, and we're going to jump into some stuff. But before we do, let me put up this on the screen. This is talking about our subscription. If you are on Facebook with us, man, we have been growing tremendously. We appreciate you. You can subscribe right now for just 49 cents for the first month, 99 cents after that. I think there's 2 or 3 more spots left on our flash sale. It runs till November 23rd. There was 5 spots. Jump in now for 49 cents a month. You get your own chat and your own page that you can post on as well. So we appreciate that. Facebook, and then we also appreciate you on YouTube. If you're on YouTube with us, we appreciate you as well. Like and subscribe. You can comment here on the show with us, share, tell others about us. We'd appreciate it, man. All right, one more thing real quick. At the top left of the screen is going to be our home field apparel QR code. I'm going to have this up for the entirety of the show. If you're a Wildcat fan, man, go check it out. There's lots of cool stuff. Go to the Kentucky page. There's like 30 or 40 items to choose from. They have a bunch of cool retro vintage stuff and throwback teams to this time of year. Man, they make good Christmas gifts and things of that nature. They're packaged well, so check them out. Use SportsCast or use that QR code at the top of the screen. All right, John, it has been a wild, wild week in the world of Kentucky sports, and we have been a part of it. So let's get going here tonight. We're going to jump in tonight to start with. We're going to jump into the football. And John, on Saturday night this week, unbelievably, Kentucky actually played good football.
They did, man. They come out and, they had some early turnovers that they got off Florida's DJ Lagway. Very unusual for Kentucky to force turnovers because they've not been able to do that all season long. Really great game for them. There was some defensive guys that got injured, which is unfortunate. Jordan Lovett got hurt. I'm trying to think who else got hurt. Alex Safari got injured. There's another one, I think, that 2 of them I think are out for the year, Brad. Mark Stoops posted that today. Well, he said that today in his press conference. Thanks, Jordan Lovett and Sam Green is out, which is really tough, especially for Jordan Lovett because he's a senior. He's played his heart out all season long. He's been a part of the program, and to see his career kind of end that way is kind of tough, Brad.
It is. I just want to say hi to Eric. We got Eric Bird on with us. That is his picture in the background. You can see his name, bird's eye view, at the bottom left of the screen here tonight. I just want to give a shout out to Eric for helping us out this year with professional photos, and that behind us is one that he took this weekend at the football game. So just want to point that out real quick. But yeah, John, man, Kentucky actually looked like a real football team and played like one, offense and everything. I mean,
Their tempo, their offensive tempo.
they went to some tempo in this game and ran an actual offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was actually not only good to see, but it kind of was crazy. I mean, we haven't seen that kind of stuff all year.
Yeah, they led at halftime 24-7. You know, Florida had the pick that led to points. To me, I felt like they just wanted to rip the whole soul out of Florida. You know, Bowley played good, I thought. Seth McGowan played really well. They had a 13-play drive that took a lot of time off the clock, Brad. It felt like a big dagger, you know. And then Dante Dowdell went, 65 yards to cap off.
65 yards right up the middle, man,
right
to the
middle.
house.
It just felt like a demoralizing game for the Gators. You know, Willie Rodriguez had a big first down. You know, Florida was spinning on that drive. You know, they had Dante Dowdell had a big game. DJ Miller is playing. He's stepping up. JJ Hister had a big touchdown in the end zone. From there, it was pretty much game over. The offense looked really well, I thought. Now, I will say the sequence before halftime was a little out of – it was a little weird.
There was about 2.5 minutes right before halftime that looked pretty sloppy.
You had a fumble. You had a interception from both sides.
But it was both teams. One team would do it, then the next team would. Then the other team would come on, and they'd have a turnover. And then
I'm going to tell you what really started this game was I felt like was the Rayner tip pass that Bryant had. It set up a field goal. I think Rayner got a pick right before halftime. I'm going to tell you something. Rayner is playing some of his best football right now.
SEC Co-Defender of the Week announced today, actually.
He had 5 tackles, a sack. I think he had a pass breakup. I'm going to tell you, the defense has stepped up defensively with all these guys injured. You had Cam Dooley, Quashay Scott, J.Q. Hardaway stepping up. Grant Godfrey is playing. This is a really good, backup guys that are coming in and kind of filling the slot of some of these injured players. And I think that's a big difference and helps with a little bit of depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll get to some defense stuff, but there is guys really coming in off the bench. Listen, there's a lot of freshmen and sophomores that are playing now, offense and defense, and we're not really slacking and going down with all of that. So, I mean, it's good to see, to be quite honest with you. The one thing with Florida here, I want to mention, of course, everybody knows that Billy Napier was fired. They got the interim coach, Gonzalez, but DJ Lagway had 3 picks in the first half and was benched after halftime.
Yeah, he got benched. That was kind of surprising for me. He got picked off 3 times. He had, I think, 83 yards passing right before the Gators, coaching staff pulled him from the game. I don't know, man. This whole Florida situation is tough. And from an outsider's perspective, it's, you look at what Kentucky has been through with coaching in the past before Stoops got there. There was a couple of years there where it was really, really bad. And Florida is in a process to where I feel like, there's going to be a mass exodus when this season ends. There's going to be a lot of people transfer. I'm not sure if Lagway will. I'm not sure if Verdell Baum will. There'll be a lot of guys probably go to the pros. Whoever takes that job, Brad, I was telling Dad today, they're going to have a lot to deal with and a lot to change. There's a lot of attitude and culture that needs to be changed in Florida.
100%. John, the week before, they played Georgia really well. Georgia had to come from behind late to beat them 24-20. And on top of that, their defense had been playing really well, Florida, this year.
Yeah, their defense had played really well all year, and then they come out Saturday and they just looked like they had never played down a football. They was giving up a lot of chunk yards. They was giving up a lot on the inside runs. On the 65-yard touchdown run up the middle. You had Cutter Boley was just eating out of their hands, throwing the ball on the backside of the pylon. That was one of the most beautiful throws I've seen Cutter Boley make in quite a while. And that's where I wanted to kind of go with this with Cutter Boley. Like, Boley has transformed into a really, really good quarterback. Everybody looked at last year at the Louisville game and said, well, he might not be a great quarterback. Well, you know what? He's proven that. He went to Auburn. He won. He showed it in the Tennessee game. He showed it in the Florida game. Listen, Cutter Boley is the future of this program, and we need to stand behind this kid because this kid has an arm talent and he can play some football.
100%. I'll talk a little bit more about Cutter in just a few minutes, but my next segment, John, I want to ask you about the dominant defensive performance, and I have a stat for you. Florida's longest drive the entire game was 35 yards.
Yeah, that was tough.
Kentucky held them. They had one drive of 13 yards on a muffed punt. Outside of that, Kentucky would have held them scoreless. Their longest drive was a 35-yard drive.
Yeah, it would have been 38-0. And here's another thing. You got the wins against Auburn and Florida, and everybody says, well, they're not great football teams. Well, you play the schedule that you play. Now, you look back at the Tennessee game.
You look back at the Texas game.
Well, the Texas game, but I'm talking about from the Tennessee game. Everybody thought, well, the defense was not that great. Well, me and you mentioned this before that game. I felt like Tennessee's – the way they run their offense was just simply a bad matchup for Kentucky.
It is. Heupel is a bad matchup. It kind of reminds me of the Steve Spurrier offense, to be honest with you. I've been saying that for a while. But defensively, this team overall, outside of that Tennessee game, they have been playing really well. The last 2 weeks, they've held their opponents to 7 points or less. That's not easy to do in the SEC.
Well, and the thing is, they're getting guys like Nasir Addison, Cam Dooley, Grant Godfrey, Lorenzo Cohen, Austin Ramsey's playing, Jalen Williams, a bunch of rotation guys. They're replacing some of these guys that are not healthy, and they're, like I told somebody,
they're not losing a step.
Development is not instant gratification. There's a lot of reason why some of these kids don't play, especially a lot of these freshmen. And you're seeing a lot of that come to fruition now with what Stoops is building. And, especially with last year with the transfer portal, they lost a lot of pieces. They had to do a whole turnover. And you're finally seeing that team kind of figure it out late in the year. And now you got an opportunity. You play a 10-0 Tennessee Tech team that has really not played nobody. But to be fair, their conference is not that great. But they're winning games that they're supposed to be winning. But it's another game, like I said, for Kentucky to come out on senior day and win this game. And look at the next two games. You got Vanderbilt and you got Louisville at home or on the road. And you got the opportunity to go to a bowl game. You pretty much changed the reflection of this season where a month ago you didn't think you would have this opportunity.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with that. I want to ask you on the offensive side, man, is Bush Hamden's offense finally coming alive?
I think it is. Like I said, the faster tempo.
Is that just Cutter Boley or what?
I don't know, bro. Like there was some, there was still some bad juju with the South Carolina game, but I feel like since the South Carolina game, they've kind of figured it out. I feel like they haven't really college scared, Brad. They had the tempo right there. I think it was was it 7 minutes, 8 minutes go in the first half? And they kind of went really, really fast. And Florida had no idea how to figure it out. They was getting chunk plays. And I looked over at somebody in the booth and I said, I have never seen this before under Stoops.
Yeah,
I've never seen them.
Well, the first couple of years they did the air raid, and people forget that. But over the last 8 or 10,
4 to 5, 8 years, I've really not seen that kind of tempo go that quick.
Yeah, I agree. The last time that we played with good tempo would have been Will Levis's junior year under Liam.
You know what I think it has to do with, Brad? Cutter Bowley.
And Cutter Bowley, after the game, and actually this morning on SEC Network, he was on live this morning, and he is backing Mark Stoops big time.
Yeah, they all are. They're backing their play, their coaches, the offensive coaches, the Mark Stoops. I'm going to tell you something, man. These kids have balled out for 2 straight weeks, okay, Brad? They got a chance to do something that many fans and many media members and those alike did not think they was going to be able to do, and that was turn around the season. And if they go to a bowl game, you can look back at the Auburn game as a turnstile, as getting to that.
Maybe you could say the Texas game, because I think the Texas game gave them confidence that they could do it.
I think the Texas game kind of gave them an idea where we're still in this thing, and if they would have beat Texas, this whole Florida game and Auburn game changes dramatically, because if you beat Tennessee Tech, you're going to a bowl.
Yeah. And it's a game they dominated Texas. And Texas, by the way, is the 10th ranked team in the country. And if you look at all the stats, they dominated Texas. Again, they could not move the football. They barely had drives over 30, 40 yards. They could not move the football the entire game. This defense has been playing lights out, except for one bad game over the last 4 or 5, to be honest. Bowl possibilities. And this is something, John, like you said, a few weeks ago, we would have thought this was never a possibility. It was setting 2-5, just got blown out at home against Tennessee.
I'm going to be honest with you, Brad.
And now they're 4-5. Have a game that should be winnable this Saturday. Now, we're going to get to that game next in a topic, but that does leave 2 road games at Vandy and at Louisville. And, John, Vandy just struggled against that same Auburn team that we beat.
Yeah,
and Louisville just got beat at home by a so-so California team.
I'll be honest with you. I think to be fair, I think the Louisville game probably on paper is probably more winnable than the Vanderbilt game. Now, Vanderbilt's got an off week this week. They got a bye week to kind of fix the defensive messes that they had this. Auburn didn't have – I can't remember. I can't look it up. But they had, I think, 100 yards in the first half with Kentucky, maybe 200 at the most. And they finished with 271, I believe. 270 was it? It was somewhere around there.
Yeah, and they had over 500 against Vanderbilt.
500 against Vanderbilt, and I've said it all year, and I even said it after the Texas game. Kentucky would enter the game against Louisville with a chance to go to the bowl. Now Tennessee Tech, I'm going to be honest with you, man. You can't overlook a team like that. They're undefeated. They're 5th nationally in the FCS, but you look at it from paper standpoint, it's an SEC team. They should be able to drill a team like this. So,
that's my next topic is Tennessee Tech. John, they were the 5th ranked team in the country in FCS last week. They're 10-0. They have not lost. They have a good shot of making it really far in the FCS playoffs. Mm-hmm. And they're playing good.
They are. I agree with you. And the thing is, you beat Tennessee Tech next week, and you got Vanderbilt and Louisville to close the year out. You lose both of those games, I wouldn't say the season is a wash, but you killed all the momentum that you had when you beat Florida, Auburn, Tennessee Tech, like it kills a little bit of the momentum to end the year. And I don't think these players want that to happen. You know, I was around a few of them in the post game. They are really wanting to get to a bowl game. They're wanting to win this for the fans, and I see it in them, in their eyes. Their play. They're gritting it out. They're playing as tough as they have played all year, Brad. They're making plays on the defensive side of the ball that they was not making early in the year. It's just a totally different culture than it was when, you know, they was playing South Carolina and Ole Miss. It's just a whole different team coming together at the right time.
I mean, Jared, I kind of agree with you that, you know, it's possible that Kentucky's right back in close to the same situation. I mean, playing in the SEC is no joke.
It's not.
And
it's tough.
And Kentucky is not the top level tier of the SEC. They're just not. They're always going to have to fight for whatever they get. And a lot of fans think that Kentucky can just get there and, you know, just wave a wand and just like magically get there or something. And that's just not the case.
Jonathan said, how good of a bowl if they win out? Well, you're probably looking at the Liberty Bowl at best there, or the Music City Bowl. Let's be fair.
But it's probably going to be Liberty Bowl, Las Vegas Bowl, something like that.
Yeah, which to the start of the year, you didn't think you had an opportunity, and now you do.
2-5. Nobody thought we would even have a possibility at a bowl. So
you take it and run with it.
Here's the deal. Here's what a bowl game does for you guys. It gives you another month of practice that you can use. It's basically like a spring, a winter, like a spring ball. And here's another thing it does. It gives you revenue. That's what the big thing is in this world right now of college sports, is it gives you revenue. So by the time you get extra revenue from the SEC plus what you get from the bowl, you're looking at $5, $6, maybe even $7 million with TV revenue on top of it, just for making a bowl. That's big money, John.
Yep, it is.
If you can get that, you know, that's big money. Now, Tennessee Tech, I just want to throw this in here before we move on from this. It's a team that you cannot overlook. They're used to winning. Now they play smaller Davidson and a bunch of schools that we don't play, okay? So should it be a game that we should take care of? It should, but they're good enough that you can't overlook them.
That's true.
You cannot overlook them at all. All right, John, we are going to move on from football because we have already talked about who they play next and everything. So we are going to move to basketball. And John, that is a picture that you took before the game on Friday night. And I just want to throw that up and put that out there first. And John got his first experience at Rupp with media on Friday night. So just want to throw that in there, and done a good job. So, all right. They played Valpo on Friday night, and Kentucky got a pretty good size win. They played really great offensively, scored 107 points.
They shot 54% overall. I think they was 11 of 28 from three. They held the Beacons to 28% shooting. I think they shot 8 from 34 from deep. Kentucky's defense was really, really good, Brad. But the offense was what was the takeaway of the night. You know, Jalen Lowe helped really big in getting back in the lineup. Kentucky needs Jalen Lowe, and I say that because the way he facilitates, to being able to move the offense together when he's leading, it just operates so much smoother. And everybody's in their normal spots. You know, you don't got Chandler over here playing point guard. You don't have Jasper Johnson trying to figure out how to play. You know, everybody's in their position. And you know, Kentucky jumped out, like I said, 13-3, I think, and the game was pretty much over. But the story of the night that I kind of want to go at is the play of Malachi Marino.
That's
Malachi had one of the best games that I've seen in quite a while.
He did.
Even high school. He had 18. They had 6 players in double figures. He knocked a double-double. Colin Chandler hit some big threes. If this team can play, which they're not going to have that competition every night, Brad. Let's be honest. Valpo's not going to be the competition every night. You know, they got Louisville tomorrow night. So if they can continue to build on that offensive performance they did Friday night, this Kentucky team is going to be a special watch.
So offense is what scares me. I watched them for 3.5 games really struggle from the floor from 3, to be honest with you. Now, they were exhibition and preseason stuff. Some of it was, so it's early. I'm not saying that's what is going to happen, but watching for 3.5 games, the one thing that worried me the most about this team was just offensive flow. But the last game and a half, they seem to have figured out some stuff. Now, Denzel Aberdeen came back that game, and then this game, the Valpo game, Lowe come back. Now, he was limited. He probably only played about 18 or 20 minutes. I'm just guessing.
I'll be honest with you, though, Brad. He made some really crisp passes. When he drove the lane, he got one out to Colin. He got one out, I think, to Jasper. When this offense has a point guard, which you saw it last year, it was not healthy. If Kentucky was healthy last year, they'd probably go farther than where they do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They just never could figure it out, getting healthy. It was
you look at this team, John, and he had been trying to play Colin Chandler at the point, and it just doesn't flow. It doesn't work. Colin Chandler doesn't play well. He loses his sniper mentality. Because he's thinking about what all he's got to do to run the team and run the point and set everybody up and everything else. It just doesn't flow well. Colin Chandler is a much, much better player playing the 2 or the wing.
Yeah. And Chandler, when he's, going and he's hitting his shots like he did Friday night, this team has another dimension that they can go to.
And then one other player I want to ask you about before we get to Malachi. Actually, there's 2 players I want to ask you about real quick. One, Jasper Johnson, I've been telling you since the blue-white game, I thought he's one of the best players on the team. Yeah, I still think that. I still think that he needs to be on the floor more. And I liked the offense when he had the ball in his hands.
Yeah, he can facilitate. He can move. He can drive. He can hit the 3 when he wants to. He can hit the little jumper up on the free throw line at times. He's just got a smooth game to his repertoire, Brad. And he needs to be on the floor. I'm going to be honest with you, about 22, 23 minutes.
Yeah, he's playing really good. Freshman. He's a legacy recruit. His grandfather, his father played football. He bleeds Kentucky. That's why he says KY till I die, to be quite honest with you. But he's just a special, special player. The other one I wanted to ask you about is Brandon Garrison seems to be playing quite a bit better as well.
And I was going to kind of talk about him because I feel like he kind of brought the Louisville rivalry back to its form last year.
I expect that tomorrow.
I expect a little fireworks tomorrow, with and Mark Pope. But, I feel like Brandon Harrison has really turned the corner, his leadership. I asked him a question. I said, what have you learned from this year to last year? And he said leadership, just being able to, get out on the floor and help others. And he's becoming and getting into that role. And I think he's going to be a really good player for Pope in his second year here at Kentucky.
I think he had 14 the other night against Valpo and played really well, I thought, in the minutes that he got.
I thought he did, yes.
I agree with you. Cam Williams is struggling a little bit. I'm hoping he will find it.
I think he'll figure it out. People say, well, he should be shooting threes and getting. You got to remember, this kid come from Tulane, the American Conference. It's a little higher up when you go from American Conference to the SEC.
Plays a little faster, the talent's better. I mean,
and it's just going to take him some time, but I think Cam will get it going just like everybody else. And hopefully we'll hear a little bit more on Trent Noah. Hopefully he'll get to play here pretty soon. Luckily, he did not get injured bad against Nicholls State. That could have been a devastating loss this early in the season, but thank God he's okay. Don't know if he's going to play against Louisville tomorrow, but maybe coming up. And I don't know if you've heard anything, Brad, but I've heard a few little tidbits that maybe JQ comes back for Bellarmine. I don't know if you've heard that, or I've just heard some rumblings of that. So
that seems pretty quick, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm just trying to read the tea leaves on Twitter, but
all right, let's get to Malachi. A Lexington native, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just a few miles down the road from Lexington. He's not classified because he's played at Great Crossings, but he's basically a Lexington kid. He grew up playing there within shouting distance, basically. Freshman and second game, a double-double, 18 points, 10 rebounds. The one thing I will say, man, he's got to work on his free throw shooting, but outside of that, he's playing pretty well.
Yeah, he can move for his size, under the goal. He can, take a charge. He can do just a little bit about everything for his size. And he hits the outside shot a little bit, not the three, but the outside on the corner of the goal. He's really good with it. I'm telling you, man, to see what he did Friday night, that gives Kentucky another dimension in the paint with JQ when he comes back.
You know what I liked that I saw him do Friday night? There was a few times down the floor they fed him the ball in the post, and he was directing everybody to get out of his way to take the guy off the dribble. And they had a 6'10", like 260-pound guy that was he's no slouch, Valpo. Like he was a pretty good-sized guy.
I'll say this, too. Everybody was kind of going back to the loss to Georgetown, okay? You look at last year. They beat Duke. They beat Gonzaga. They beat Tennessee twice. They beat the national champions, Florida. Pope is not going to let this linger, this Georgetown game. I know fans are concerned, offensively. They had a really rough game that night. They couldn't hit Georgetown. And to be fair, Georgetown hit everything that was going in. I mean, Mac had a big game. KJ Lewis from, the Arizona product, the transfer, he had a big game. Like, I don't put much stock into exhibition games, but I do agree that sometimes, the offense does go into a stagnation mode.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think we had some players out, and I don't think that the effort just wasn't there. I don't think they wanted to, they just wanted to be there.
I agree with you, but I feel like these last two games, especially Nicholls State, they struggled in the first half. They finally figured it out in the second half, and they put the game away. And then you had the Colin Chandler dunk that took over social media, which was one of the best dunks I've seen in quite a while. So, really, really good win there. And then they come back and they kind of put Valpo away early.
What do you think about Malachi's post moves down there, though? I mean, I think that's a good sign.
I love his post moves. Like, I would like to see him do that against, some competition, Gonzaga, Louisville. And if he can do it there, you add JQ on the other block.
Yeah.
Kentucky's got some tandems in the middle.
Yeah, that's for sure. Absolutely.
Then you throw in kind of Brandon Garrison, a guy that can go out and hit a three every once in a while. That changes the dynamics of that team.
I agree with you. I think Brandon was talking about the Tennessee Tech game, not Louisville.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
You ready to talk about a little bit?
as far as overlooking. One other thing real quick, and you kind of mentioned it, but we did have 6 players in double figures, over 12 points, actually.
We did. Oway had double figures. I think Malachi did. Colin Chandler. Jasper Johnson had double figures. So if that happens every night, which I don't think it's going to happen every night, but that happens very, very often, Kentucky's going to be hard to deal with.
Yep, I agree. All right, John, Louisville. Unbelievably, Louisville is tomorrow night. Guys, it's November the 11th. Listen, I know that the players have been chirping, Louisville players and everything, but even despite all of this, I'm just not ready. This is way too early for me. I can't even wrap my head around it.
Yeah, you're used to it being around Christmas, and it just feels like it's just a bland game this early. You know what I mean? Like to them, it's not.
And it's a Tuesday night. I mean, this game is supposed to be a featured game on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a little different. I agree with you. There's a lot of high hopes for both of these teams. Like, this is a huge game, Brad. As far as going down the road, it's a big game to put on your resume. Kelsey's got a really good team. Isaac McNeely, Ryan Conwell, they got Adrian Woolley. Then you kind of add in the freshman Michael Brown. He's really, really good. And Hadley, to Sean Pryor, the guy that made a comment about Kentucky going out of his press conference, said, you just have to read it. I ain't going to say it on live podcast, but he
basically said
out the door and said, we're ready for Tuesday, and said F them, basically. Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of juice with this game now. Pat Kelsey, Mark Pope. I'm going to tell you, Brad, this game's not going to be easy. I think it's going to be really tough. And I think with Pat Kelsey there now, I think this game's going to be a lot more competitive in the future. You had the lovers spat back in, what was it, early this summer with Pope and with Kenny, the recruit. Something happened between Pope and Kelsey. Somebody made jokes and had punching bags and boxing gloves, and it was just.
There's been a lot of weird things. There was also the dream that Pat Kelsey had about Mark Pope and him. Like, it's just been some weird stuff.
Yeah, just a little bit of nothing, to be honest with you. A bunch of competitive stuff. But overall, I'm excited, Brad. I think it's a big game for both teams. I think both of these teams want to win this game. You had Oway talking about it today. He wanted to win this game for the Commonwealth. So, big game tomorrow night.
What I liked about the press conferences today, a couple of players was talking about it and was asked about the Pryor kid. And what I liked about everything that I have seen from the Kentucky players is they all have said, let's bring it Tuesday night on the floor.
I agree.
That's what I like.
Let you play, do the talking.
The whole running your mouth before the game. I mean, honestly, it's not a good look. Not only is it not a good look, most of the time it backfires. It's just not something that I would want my players doing if I was the coach, to be honest with you. Now, if you want to say something after the game and after you won and after you kicked somebody's tail and you want to say something, then I'm not completely against that. Before the game, it usually doesn't work out, to be honest with you.
No, it don't.
I don't like that. But I will say this. Louisville has improved 100%. And
they shoot the three good too.
I think, John, they're favored about 3 points tomorrow night. Do you have a problem with that?
No, I do not, because I feel like as going in as an underdog, you have that underdog mentality of going in there and shutting them up. You know, that's the thing. Like, as a competitor, you go in there and you do your game and you let your game do the talking. And I feel like that's what Kentucky's going to do. Like, you know, you was talking about Louisville. Let Louisville do the talking, and you'll go in and play your game.
I mean, there's some fans today that was talking about how in the world is Louisville favored and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Look, they're an 11th or 12th ranked team, depending on which poll you look at, I believe, at home, playing the number 9 team in the country. It's not that big of a deal to fathom that they might be favored in this game, to be honest with you. If this was at Rupp, Kentucky would probably be favored 4 or 5 points.
Yep.
So I don't think that's that big of a deal. Tomorrow night should be fun. I plan on watching it with my son and maybe fixing some popcorn and trying to enjoy a little bit of the game tomorrow night, to be honest with you. I might even say a cuss word or two. I'm not sure. We'll see.
At least Pope's not on jury duty tomorrow night. That's another one. So,
oh my goodness, that was so ridiculous. Doesn't a judge in Kentucky know better that you're not supposed to be doing that? You're not supposed to be doing that during the season. I mean, come on.
You would think. Yep.
I mean, for real. All right, we're going to get to the women's basketball side of things here. So here at Wildcat Weekly, we're going to talk a little bit of women's basketball too. They played 2 games since we last was on. We did our Monday night show after their first game. They played Thursday night and they played yesterday in Buffalo.
Yep.
Yep. They played yesterday in Buffalo. Kentucky women is setting at 3-0. Today, a new AP poll come out. They went from 24 to 23 in the AP poll. They did move up a spot after starting 3-0. Now, they haven't played anybody great yet. They've been winning, by a big margin. They on Thursday night, they too scored over 100 points in a game. First time since like 2017 that the girls.
And they play South Carolina Upstate this week.
They do. The girls had not scored over 100 points since like 2017 in a game. And that was on Thursday night. Speaking of that game, a girl that comes off the bench who was a top 40 recruit. She's a sophomore this year. She come in off the bench and exploded with 6 3-pointers in that game and led the Cats. A big game by Lexi Blue. Her and Amelia Hassett had 17, led the Cats that night. Like I said, they scored 104 points in that game, 104 to 46, and blew them away. Go check out my article at Stadium Rant on Lexi Blue. I wrote an article about her for that game. And then Clara Strack yesterday. This is a picture of Clara Strack and
dominant in her hometown.
She was. She went back home. She's from a small little community in Buffalo called Hamburg, and she went back home to Buffalo to play a game. This was all set up by Kenny Brooks to allow her to have a trip to go back home. It was a really cool deal. They went to her old high school, and the team had a whole signing thing for all the little girls and fans and anybody else that wanted to come from that community that looks up to her. She is the all-time leading scorer at the school, and it was just a really cool thing. Outside of the basketball, it was really cool for Clara Strack and her family.
Yeah, she had a really big game yesterday. And, Lexi Blue's playing really well. Then you've got Jordan Obi that's playing really well. I think Tiana Key had a big layup. This team, I've said it, Brad, in the preseason, they're coming. And I know that everybody's, kind of been on the outs with them. with the media poll and their ranking, but their play is going to speak for itself. And I think, they got some tough games coming up, which is going to kind of test them. I think they play Maryland coming up pretty soon.
They do.
A couple of teams. So, Kenny Brooks has built something great here. He's getting into the recruiting class. He's getting, Kaylin Carroll, like I said, she played good the other night. He's dipping into the recruiting and getting Kentucky back to that, 5-star, 4-star girls that, Matthew Mitchell did when he was here. So it's getting to that point again. So just give it time. He's been to a Final Four. He knows where he's going. He knows how to develop these girls. And I think you're seeing a lot of that pay off this season with how they played so far. But to be fair, they ain't played nobody yet. But they're still playing hard as they have, and Clara Strack is a big reason for that. But
they are beating these teams by a large margin.
Yeah, they are.
As well.
I agree with you.
So, they had a 58-point win on Thursday night. They had a 34-point road win yesterday in Buffalo. And that team tried to be kind of physical. There was an altercation in the game. Clara Strack got pushed in the back. Tiani Key tried to jump in the middle of it. And Clara Strack and Tiani Key both got flagrant 1 fouls in this game yesterday.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough gals, I can tell you.
I'm telling you. They didn't back down from nobody. I'm telling you. Both of them had double-doubles. Clara had 27 points, which is a career high. Her 25 was her career high. She had 27 points, 12 boards, 4 blocks. And then Tiani Key had 17 points, 12 rebounds as well to lead the Cats to victory, 81-47 yesterday. That's 2 games in a row. They've held their opponents to 46 and 47 points. That's pretty good defense. Under 30% shooting for both of them. They've played 3 games. They have 31 blocks. They led the SEC in blocks last year. Led the country in blocks last year. They're on the pace to do that again with the big girls that they have. And John, you're talking about recruiting. I put a post up today at College SportsCast on Twitter and on Facebook. You can check it out. The early signing period starts Wednesday, the 12th. Kenny Brooks has one of the top 2 or 3 classes of 2026 in the country committed right now. If he can get those,
one of those is the sharpshooter, Maddie Greenway.
Madden Greenway is a lightning fast point guard. She's one of the top 10 player, 5-star. Savvy Swords is a top 10 6'1" wing. And then you have a lights out shooting guard. Her name is Emily McDonald. Expect those 3 players to sign this week. And if they do, Kentucky will have most likely a top 2 or 3 signing class in the early signing period. Now, it's not over.
And that's not counting the transfers they'll get at the end of the year.
Right. It's not over. There's still recruiting that'll go on in April and May of next year. So that's not it. But early signing, they have one of the best classes in the country.
They do.
And we're talking 2 5-stars and a 4-star. So just a big deal. He was talking about hanging on with this team and what he's building. It's pretty exciting.
Well, and the thing is, too, Brad, it's only took him 2 years to do it.
Yep. Absolutely.
That shows what kind of coach he is.
Absolutely. He's been hitting the transfer portal too. I think he'll do that. Talking about this team, though,
Josie Gilvin has been playing pretty good too.
She come off the bench and put up about 5 points. Kaylin Carroll had her career high so far, 8 points off the bench yesterday in this Buffalo game as well. So there's been a lot of players playing well. And this team, John, they play at home on Wednesday night They play South Carolina upstate. But after that game, 5 of the next 6 games are on the road.
Yep. Tough stretch coming up. They'll be
It
challenged.
is. It is a tough stretch. They play Louisville on the road in that stretch. They play Maryland in Puerto Rico.
They play
and
Purdue.
then they come back and they play at Miami in the ACC SEC challenge.
Then they play Purdue, I think, at home.
They do. They get Purdue at home.
Yep.
They get Purdue at home in that stretch. So there's some tougher games coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Cats and these women take care of business in that stretch, because they go from November 18th till December 7th before they have another home game.
That's wild to think about.
They do.
It's a lot of traveling.
They will. They go to Puerto Rico. So I mean, they have a long way to travel, to be honest with you.
It's quite a bit of ways, yeah.
Yeah. They have a holiday tournament over the
that's one thing that I've missed about the men's. With Pope, hopefully they'll get back into the groove of getting back into these, like, you know, the NIL classics and the era tournament out in Las Vegas, you know, the Maui. Getting the men back into that would be really cool as well, like the women do.
The women they're traveling in one of those holiday tournaments for Thanksgiving. They're going to be playing at Puerto Rico. They're playing Maryland, which is a top 10 or 15 team in the country. And then they play one smaller school over there as well. But they're playing 2 games over there that weekend, and then come back home and travel to Miami in the ACC SEC championship and have another, by the way, I want to bring this up for the SEC, have another road game in the ACC SEC challenge. This is 3 out of 4 years that the women Kentucky Wildcats have been on the road in this challenge. It's about time they give them some home games. I'm just saying.
I agree.
All right. Now, John, we have one more that we are going to cover. And this was a big one.
Yep.
Yesterday, the volleyball girls got a huge win at home in a sold-out Memorial Coliseum against the rival Tennessee Vols. They won 3-1. John, I'm going to give you a number. There was 6,236 people at this volleyball game yesterday.
That's insane.
The number 2 team in the country played number 19, Tennessee. Tennessee actually come out strong and won the first set. And then Kentucky ran off 3 sets in a row, despite that Eva Hudson turned her ankle and set out for a little bit and then come back in. She still had 19 kills and helped the Cats win.
Yeah, they're playing impressive right now, Brad. They're doing some special things. You know, they've won the SEC. You know, they take down Tennessee. They've had a 17-game win streak. Now Tennessee, I think, won the first set, but the Wildcats took the next 3.
They did.
Eva Hudson's playing really well. Brooklyn DeLay's playing well. Cassie O'Brien is playing really well. Kennedy Washington is playing well. Just this whole team is playing great at the right time. And now you kind of set your sights on, I think, Arkansas and I believe it's Oklahoma coming up. And then you kind of figure out the SEC tournament. And then hopefully you can get to the title game and you get a rematch with Nebraska. You get an opportunity to play Nebraska again. And hopefully this time the Cats can kind of figure it out and and not let that, because they was ahead of Nebraska 2 sets, and Nebraska came back, which Nebraska's a really tough team anyways. They play good. They play good all year. They've not even lost a game. And you said something about they haven't lost a set since that Kentucky game.
They have not. They've won over 40 straight sets,
and that's impressive. That's really impressive. So, and then
talking about this game yesterday, John, I want to bring this up. So, one of the first Wildcat Weeklies we did here, first or second one, we had a current player on. Asia Thigpen was on with us for a segment here at Wildcat Weekly. And I got to bring her name up because she had some really nice kills yesterday in this match. I know she had late. I'm not sure what she wound up with, but she had 6 kills and 4 digs late in this match, and she played really well. I thought she done really good coming off the bench in this game. And Asia Thigpen is one I wanted to bring up.
And the thing too, it was good to see the fans standing outside of Memorial. They was lined up outside. The atmosphere was insane. You had Craig Skinner at Rupp Arena up on top of the rack.
That's what I wanted. He was standing on top of tables at press conferences. He was showing up in the rafters at Rupp Arena. I mean, he was going all out.
I seen it, and I was like, this guy's going all out for this, man.
He's going all out at having the fans show up yesterday, and they rewarded them with a sellout. It was the 3rd largest crowd to ever watch a game for Kentucky volleyball, 6,236.
Since the 80s.
It was the largest since like 84 or something like that, but it was the 3rd largest crowd ever to watch a Kentucky volleyball game. And they get the win over the rival Tennessee Vols. So that's always good.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to continue here just a little bit with volleyball.
I said that they won the regular season championship, but it's basically, I feel like it's over, to be honest.
So they have beaten Texas A&M, and I think Texas A&M is the only other team that has 1 loss. And there's only 2 games remaining. So
that's what I mean. I feel like it's
within reach. It's almost locked up. They only have 2 games remaining. And John, 9th consecutive SEC regular season championship.
That's hard to do, man.
John, yesterday, the Kentucky Wildcats won their 24th straight SEC game.
You think about it, that's like basketball and football. Do you know how hard that is to do in basketball and football?
And this is SEC. These are not like awful teams, okay?
No, it's Texas is good. Tennessee is good. Oklahoma is pretty decent.
Florida's usually good. They're a little down this year, but they were really good last year. 24 straight SEC games that they've won.
I mean, it's impressive, Brad.
Craig Skinner has an absolute he's got them on a rope right now. They're playing so well. They're number 2 in the nation.
And I feel like you said, they're locked in. Like they're not – there's no distractions. They're locked in on what their accomplishment and what their goal is, and that's to win a national championship. And
that's Ava Hudson in the picture with a kill yesterday against the Volunteers in the picture behind us. Again, that picture is by Eric Bird, who was on with us earlier with Bird's Eye View, helping us take some really good.
By the way, for those that don't know, he has a slideshow with the football too that he had uploaded. So I forgot to mention that in the football thing.
Yeah, there's like over 400 pictures in that thing, man. But it's really cool to watch, to be honest.
He's got the catwalk and all the pregame and got a lot of Florida pictures. Plus, he's got Kentucky pictures. So check it out.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, John, wrap it up with volleyball here. For the first time in 20 years, the SEC has brought back the conference tournament to volleyball this year. It's going to be in Savannah. It is not this coming weekend, but the next one. So it's going to be about the holiday weekend, or maybe no, I think it's going to be the holiday weekend. But it's in Savannah, Georgia. The SEC volleyball tournament is. It's the first time they've played a tournament in 20 years. They just brought it back.
That's going to be a special experience down there.
It's going to be warm. Going to have some good weather.
It ain't going to be like it is tonight around
Savannah's got a good nightlife. They've got the beach is very close that you can get to. A lot of waterways and stuff down there. So it'll be a cool experience for anybody who wants to go check out the volleyball team and Savannah at the same time.
There's snow on the ground here and it's 26 degrees. So it'll be a little bit different down there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But it'll be a cool experience. Texas will probably have a say-so. Texas A&M is 5th in the country. They only have one SEC loss. So there are 3 teams in the top 5 in the SEC. That's what I'm talking about with Kentucky. Like, there are 3 teams in the top 5. Kentucky's one of them, but to have 24 straight wins versus teams like that, that's pretty impressive.
Yep, I agree with you.
All right, John, that kind of wraps up our show, man. We have run through football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and now volleyball. So
and tomorrow night, I was going to kind of bring this up. We'll not have a show tomorrow night due to the Kentucky Louisville game. So we'll come back Thursday and do a crossover.
Yeah, we did one last week. So we're going to do that same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put the football picture back up behind us, but we're going to do that same thing this week. Tomorrow night, of course, is the Louisville, Kentucky game. John and I plan on just sitting back and watching it. We will be writing about it and probably making some posts and doing some thing on X and Facebook so you can keep up with it.
And I was going to say something before we kind of close out, Brad. I had mentioned this to you earlier before. I wanted to give a special thanks to Susan Lax, Deb Moore, Evan Crane, and Tony Neely for the opportunity to cover the game this weekend. It was a great honor. Grateful for my opportunity like Brad was for his first time. I'm absolutely grateful, and I'm blessed to know that I got the opportunity to do what I love to do, and that's cover the Cats. So thank you, Susan.
And it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me as well. I mean, this is through College SportsCast, where we have worked really hard, and I appreciate all of them. They all know that.
Yeah.
They're great people. So just want to say a big thanks and a big shout out to you guys.
I just want to give a big shout out to Susan Lax. She was they was accommodating Saturday. They had food. There was a lot of great things that they put together. It's a real professional place, and they do a really good job. And I just wanted to say thank you again, and I'm very grateful and humble.
All right, guys. So if you are a Kentucky fan, go to homefieldapparel.com, use our code CSCast, or scan that code at the top left of your screen. That is a QR code that will take you to Homefield Apparel. Go find the Kentucky gear. There's over 180 teams on that thing, but go to the SEC, find your Kentucky gear, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed with the quality of stuff that you get. Makes great Christmas gifts this time of year. So go check them out. They have great stuff. And that has been at the top of the screen the entire time. Give a shout out to Howie Fresh at the Real Fresh channel.
By the way, Dylan Ballard just posted. I just want to give a special thanks to Dylan because he helped me out a little bit tremendously this weekend. Getting me around and whatnot. And I just want to be a special thanks to him. So shout out.
Dylan's a cool cat. I appreciate you being here, man. I appreciate that. The Real Fresh channel, YouTube, Stadium Rant. we're writing on those. We with Stadium Rent, check out stadiumrent.com. John and I write all kinds of Kentucky and SEC stuff for them. So check them out. And go to the Real Fresh channel on YouTube as well.
I'll just do a plug when I'm here. Check out Dylan Ballard. He does.
Sea of Blue.
He does.
Dylan Ballard is with the Sea of Blue.
He does great photos.
That's his, and greatly appreciate him and what he does as well. Listen, guys, there is enough room for all of us. I will never, ever, ever, ever say anything bad about other people that inspired me to do this to start with. So honestly, check them out. That comes from the heart, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing I was telling you earlier. I wish to see everybody succeed in life, because we got too many haters in this world as it is, and we need to uplift everybody. So,
I mean, if it wasn't for other people that inspired me to do something, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. So that's just the truth of the story. Give a shout to Bird's Eye View, Eric Bird. He is helping us do all this. That is one of his pictures in the background. I had a couple of his pictures on the show with us tonight. He did cover the volleyball and the football game for us this weekend, and doing a great job with professional photos for us. So a huge shout out to Eric Bird and Bird.
And another big shout out to Jeff Moreland, another photographer. He helped me out a lot this weekend as well with, just kind of going around and, just trying to make sure you're comfortable and you know where you're at. So him and Dylan was a big help this weekend. So shout out to you as well, Jeff.
Dylan, I appreciate you sticking around, being here, man, stopping by 100%. That is really cool, man. So we will see you soon. And guys, we will see you guys here with College SportsCast. We will do a crossover show Thursday night with a few of our topics for our Big Fuss show, and we will have our game day pick'ems for football and some weekend basketball games, men's and women's. I'll pick out a few, and we will have some weekend basketball games here for our game day pick'em show. Check us out Thursday night. We will see you guys then. Y'all have a good night, man.
Yep. Have a good one.